Everyone, to episode 10 of the IamDJKast. This week, we're going to do a bit more of a chit-chat. Spuddy, before the cast, did kind of ask me if I've got questions ready. I don't really have questions. I do have a question. How you all doing?
This is 2 hours, is it?
Yeah.
We're
wow.
fucked.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
What am I going to talk about for that?
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I will say what we've all been recently playing is there's two things that I kind of want to do cover during this cast. Is one, we've actually pre-orders have come out for and cover art as well. I think, haven't they?
Yeah.
For Diamond and Pearl remakes and the Legends of Arceus, we can actually get our hands on the pre-orders and we kind of know what the covers look like. And also, as of recently, we've got our own community server of Pixelmon, but I do kind of want to talk about Minecraft and also not just modded side of Minecraft, but Minecraft itself has got an update coming out in the next, hopefully, week or so, 2 weeks or so. Could be any time, but COVID's postponed it and they're splitting it into two halves and all kinds of things. But we can start talking about like the Pokemon things. I know Shin was putting down a pre-order like yesterday. Did you manage to put the pre-order down?
I'm catching a pain in your chat. Hold on.
For those watching on YouTube, in my chat we do have the PCG and
There's
it's
a
just a
bayonet.
little chat bot where you can catch Pokemon and he's panicking because he likes his ghost and he wants that bayonet, which Jason
There's a
is probably
bayonet.
doing the same as well.
Yep, done.
Anywho, now you've got the bayonet.
Sorry.
Hopefully you've got the bayonet.
Yeah, no, I didn't have money.
Did you get your pre-orders down, Shin?
No, they wouldn't let me fucking pre-order. I went to the website and everything. It was just a page where it was like, here's the info and everything, and it told me the day it was available. Like
did you do it through Nintendo Switch?
Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo.
The
Not
eShop.
Nintendo's Twitch. No, not the eShop. It wasn't on the eShop either.
You did it
I went
on-
the eShop the other day, and it was there, but you couldn't pre-order. And I was angry because I'm like, let me just give you fucking money. Just let me give you money so I can have my product. Like when it comes out in 8 months.
Let me quick look.
Well, it's the same with the PS5s and that still. You still can't, you can't go on the PlayStation site and pre-order one. And it's now, coming up to June, and it came out in November. It's mental, isn't it?
Mm.
Like, the more months it goes on, the more I'm like, is this thing real? Or have they
Yeah,
just
it's-
made, like,
it doesn't
only made
exist.
like 100?
It's a myth.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a
Yeah, it
myth.
doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it's literally been, because that's even a big talking point in its own. Then Shin got the bayonet. Like
Yeah,
them
let's go.
consoles is a whole nother like conversation on their own. The fact that there were next gen consoles released during lockdown and whatnot, and they are like gold dust, like the hardest things to get your hands on. And some people and some even companies don't even have stock. Even to this day, and we're in end of May. To be able to get your
And
hands
this-
on them, I was gonna get a PS5. I'm so glad I went down the PC route
There's-
instead.
There's some places you still
Wait.
can't even get a Switch yet that they're still
The
out of
Switch
stock.
isn't, yeah. They went up in price as well. Like everything's gone up in price because of COVID. Down to, we've had this conversation off camera, Spuddy. Like down to webcams, ring lights for
Oh, yeah.
like any kind of video thing because people are working from home. Those things have gone up in prices. But obviously you've got we've all had kids. Well, not all, but some of us have had kids at home to entertain. Even family stuff together. You've got to do stuff. And having a Switch is one of the great things of kind of doing almost family-based games. And I'm assuming because everyone's fucking bought a Switch, one, they're out of stock, and two, they've gone up in price.
I can
Is
say
it
real
now?
quick.
I looked at the eShop. You
Yeah.
can't pre-order the games, but they're there.
Yeah, they're there, but you can't fucking hit the
Yep.
pre-order button, which is annoying. Because
You
it said on the
only-
tweet, pre-order here. It's like, oh, it's available to spend $60 and fucking pre-order. You can't pre-order.
Why do people, like, genuine question, why do people pre-order stuff? Like, that's going to come out on a console
I know
anyway?
mine, but Shin looks eager.
There are games, or at least companies, that if you pre-order their game, they give you bonuses for pre-ordering. That's why people pre-order those games. As far as pre-ordering games that don't give pre-order bonuses, I'm gonna be real with you, I don't fucking know. Other than
I
Nah.
do. I have the answer. If you're pre-ordering digitally only, this isn't physical, you can pre-download ready to play at midnight or whenever it releases. That's my big selling point.
Facts.
I think
Well, if
back
it's a
in
game
the
that you know
day,
you're gonna love
physical.
as well.
I think back in the day, going and pre-ordering and then getting your physical copy was joining the queue. I think we all did that probably for the experience. Like, I miss that shit. Being able to queue up to get FIFA, Call of Duty, whatever it may be, queuing up outside your game shop or wherever, waiting in line with your little receipt, with your little pre-order code to go and get your game. Like, that shit was good. I miss that.
It's that stuff that you also get to meet more people in your community that have the same interest as you as that. Because I remember I pre-ordered an older WWE game for when it was coming out because I wanted the extra characters and bonuses and stuff. So I went to GameStop to wait to get it, and I went, I would get this so fucking easy. Nobody in this goddamn area likes WWE, so it's fine. I get there, there's a line almost out the door of my GameStop, and I'm like, at least I know there's people who.
Yeah,
like
because at the
games
same
here.
time, you're like,
So struck up
wow, I didn't know these people
conversations.
play this game.
Yeah, so you strike up conversations and you meet people, and you're just like, oh, you have same interest. You're there for a common interest.
But even
Yeah,
like
fair
more
enough.
minus COVID, we don't get that anymore because we're so digital now.
Yep.
We don't like. I'd rather buy something digital to have it ready because we have to fucking do installs and downloads now, don't we? Like, we can't just put a disc in and it'll play.
Well, also you could break the disc. That's the reason why I like digital a bit more too. Is like you could break the like I could pull out my Naruto disc from my PlayStation right now and snap it in half in front of you and go, "Fuck, I can't play the game anymore. I don't have a digital copy." I'm not gonna do that because I play that game still. But I'm just saying.
The only
amount of
downside
discs
is
I've broke.
Also, you can easily switch if you buy new. Oh, you can easily just play it on different console as well. If you
Or
Yeah, if you
yeah,
switch
so
consoles.
you don't have
or
to bring
something.
all the discs as well.
or if you're like me and you're stupid and buy a disc of Mortal Kombat, at least if you buy it digitally, you can just uninstall it. Whereas I've snapped multiple Mortal Kombat discs in half.
Do you know what? I
Absolutely
believe it as well.
Despise that game now.
I
can't
believe
play
it as well.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of keyboards and controllers you've also told me you broke, that doesn't actually
Yeah,
surprise me.
yeah, I've broken a lot of controllers.
Yeah.
The
Doesn't
game
actually-
companies must love it. Like anyone that pre-orders and like are there at release or like giving them money basically beforehand, and are like just guaranteeing them like it's almost like they get 10% up front, and also you've got the added bonus of it's a really shit game. You've already bought it. I
Yeah,
mean,
look at
Yeah.
us. We pre-ordered Snap, played it for 4 days, and haven't touched it since.
I fucking
Yeah.
told you all that would happen too. I know exactly what's gonna happen. For the people that are new to it, at least you get a good experience. But I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened with the original Snap as well. People got it, played it for a week, and then went, I don't want to touch this anymore.
Yeah, but there was more stuff to do in the original Snap, like with
There was.
forcing evolutions and stuff. This one,
Yeah,
it's
there
just
was.
point and take a picture, throw a ball.
See, with me, with installing games like on release, like when you're waiting months for a game, aren't you? You're waiting months and months and months for a game to come out, which builds up excitement, which builds up hype. That's one reason why the game companies do it. That's why I'd rather pre-order and digitally, because then I can play bang on midnight, no messing around. Like, you can even plan around it, can't you? Like, if you plan on staying up all night to play that one game, you don't have to worry about downloading it. The annoying ones, though, is when they throw out a fucking last-minute update and it's like quite a few gig and you got to wait for that. That's frustrating when they do that.
Call of Duty.
Oh, you mean Call of Duty, the game that literally eats up every single bit of memory on my
Bro,
PlayStation
that
4
Warzone,
which
what
is why
the
I don't fucking play it anymore.
They've even compressed that game and the files more to create more space, but that game is still over 100 gig. Like, well
Before-
over.
Dude, before I got the hard drive for my PlayStation, I could have Cold War and the other one on
Modern
the one
Warfare.
that Warzone. Yeah, I could have those two on my PlayStation and maybe, just maybe, fit one more game on my hard drive.
Yeah, and that's at a push. Memory's
How
huge.
How
For
far
Let's
off?
not,
What?
not even get started on Grand Theft Auto.
And
It's been 8 years since that game got released.
I know.
don't
They've
do
been
that to
slacking.
us.
When did they promise a GTA 6? 4
Like
years
2
ago?
years.
2 years.
Yeah, they said it'll be like 2 years till we get
Whenever
another
that
Grand Theft
drops,
Auto.
that is gonna explode. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
that'll be probably one of the biggest games in a very long time in history.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
I'd
gonna
probably say it could
explode.
potentially even be bigger than Skyrim bringing out a new game.
Well, I think GTA 5 is the best-selling game of all time. So
Yep, that's Minecraft.
Yeah,
is it?
Minecraft has
Okay.
it.
But
in
it's
the
up
top
there.
three,
It's
though.
definitely
Yeah,
up there. Yeah, it's definitely up there.
It wouldn't
Um,
surprise me
in
if
the-
it's on like a top 5 list.
Yeah.
I'll look it up
Like,
while we.
I
while we
remember
chat.
when GTA first came out, there was like a 2-week period where we was only had access to single player because multiplayer wasn't ready or whatnot. And then after that 2 weeks was over and they released multiplayer, it was the most buggiest experience I've ever gone through. So I can imagine them, if they do that with GTA 6 or something similar, or multiplayer is available straight away, that it's going to be unplayable. I don't think they could prepare for their servers to be ready for that, but I don't think they'll truly know. I don't think they'll be truly ready for GTA 6 multiplayer servers with everyone. Guarantee probably all of us here, and that's just not even a percent of the players that'll be on. We'll all probably get it. I'll play the shit out of that.
No. I'm not a
Minecraft
huge
is at
GTA
200 mil. Minecraft's at 200 million sales. GTA 5 is at 145, and then Tetris, Wii Sports, and PlayerUnknown's Battleground round out the top 5.
Wait,
Best selling.
Tetris is in Tetris 99?
Tetris EA,
Ah!
the mobile Tetris.
Ah!
What's the original though? The original Tetris.
The one on Nintendo, like Game Boy and stuff.
I think, yeah.
It's number 10.
Damn.
So it's just you.
Fun fact.
Just Tetris overall.
Yeah. Fun fact: Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow is number 7 on the list.
Question: how much in the future do you reckon it will be until you start seeing games having as an option you can start playing the game early, but for like a $5, like an added fee on top of what you're paying for early access?
There
'Cause-
actually are.
Yeah, I was about to say-
that's part of their pre-order. They give you like a week or a couple days early access because one game I'm looking forward to. It's called oh god, what's it called? Back for Blood. If you pre-order their Ultimate Edition, you get, I think it's 3 days early access to
Assassin's Creed with their most recent game did exactly the same.
it. Yeah.
FIFA
That's
do
already happening
something
then.
similar. FIFA do something similar where if you buy EA access, that's like £4 a month.
Oh yeah.
You get it's not a lot, but you get 10 hours free. But that's EA making just that little bit more money off you, just to
Yeah.
play
Crazy,
the
innit?
game. And I think even FIFA do the Ultimate Edition. You could play like 3 days early or some shit. They literally
Yeah, I
do
know.
it to milk money, and you're gonna do it because you want to play it as soon as possible because you've been waiting
Oh,
months
yeah.
for
Yeah,
this
of
game,
course.
and you're gonna
I
pay
did it
it.
with-
But they're milking us for our money, and we're gonna
I
sit
did
here
it
and
with
complain
Marvel's
about it, but we're
Avengers.
still gonna fucking pay it.
Who's
Yeah, I
currently
did it
got
with
the
Avengers game.
yeah? Who's currently got the like accolade as the worst gaming company? Is it still EA?
They did patch. I'd
In
still say
terms
they
of just
are.
don't care. Yeah.
I'd still say they are. They did like Battlefront was bad, weren't it? Like
Yeah.
they've changed it completely now.
Oh, it's good now. I actually really like it now.
But I think they're
They flip it
still
around.
bad for kind of loot boxes. I think that's
Yeah.
when you call them a bad company is if there's loot
Yeah.
boxes
In
everywhere.
this case,
you-
Blizzard sucks. 'cause Overwatch is way worse.
Yeah,
There's
Blizz-
nothing
yeah,
but
Blizz-
loot boxes.
Yeah,
Blizzard's
Blizzard,
pretty
yeah.
bad too.
Hasn't Ubisoft got a really bad reputation as well? Because basically every game they release is essentially just a beta, and they're so full of glitches and bugs and whatnot. I know that's been like all of the Assassin's Creed. Everyone's been like the first 3 days. Oh, you get to this point and then you can't play anymore because they haven't
Yeah.
tested it properly.
Yeah, my worst ones are for other reasons other than microtransactions and stuff. Like, I absolutely hate Valve because they can't
really?
count to 3.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
I
I
was just thinking you were
despise
gonna say
Valve for that.
Half-Life 3, Left 4 Dead 3, but that's what that Back for Blood is you were talking about earlier,
Yes.
right? That's Left 4 Dead
Yep,
3, isn't it?
it is
But
literally
Back
Left
4
4 Dead
Blood-
3 without Valve.
Yeah, but Back for Blood is made by a different company, and they can't
not
use
Valve.
the Left 4 Dead name because it's not owned by them. That's right, it's not.
Yeah, yeah, but
How
it's
much you wanna
basically
bet they're
it's
gonna
the
pick
same development
textures?
team.
Yeah, it is the same but development team and everything.
Yeah, it's the same development team, just not under Valve. How much you want to bet they're just going to use the same goddamn textures? And I bet you Valve will not give a fuck because you know how old Left 4 Dead 2 is.
Dude,
Yeah.
I
don't
still have
care.
Left 4 Dead 2 on my PC.
I do too.
I love it.
Like I still have it, but like that game is so old. Like
Yeah.
there becomes a point where, especially games with an open workshop like that, like Gary's mod, like the textures that you claim are yours, eventually they just got to be free use, like fair use, right? It's like music.
You would
Like,
think.
if a song stays out for so long, that eventually becomes a fair use song. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
you would think so.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about the reputation of, is it BioWare, that's Cyberpunk, the producers
Oh,
of that?
God.
How- Do you think that
Yeah.
they'll recover from it? Do you think they'll recover from how
No.
poor that
It's-
release was?
No.
No.
It's gonna take a lot for them to recover of it. Like, look at the developer of what was it, No Man's Sky. How long it took for them to
God, yeah.
recover from
Like,
the
it's
abomination
4
they
years?
put out.
It was like 4
Yeah,
years.
it took them a few
Yeah, it
years,
took 'em
but
years.
they are. We all know. I've even played it on stream. That is one of the best games I've ever played. Like for
looks
me to be
good
able
now.
to say that, and I never play. I've not done it. Must played it when it first came out, but I've heard, seen videos, everything. Like they are online known as one of the biggest comebacks of a company and a game,
Yeah.
like ever.
Well, I give them full credit for doing it too, because they put themselves in their own shitty situation, but instead of just crying and dying, they dug themselves out of a hole, no matter how long it took.
And they did
Speaking
it.
of
So, I mean, I
crying,
give
It's just
them
take
credit.
them time, like you said with BioWare's, buddy. I think it'll just take them a long time.
Speaking of
I think
crying and
part of it,
dying,
maybe part of it was,
Years?
were they under so much pressure because Cyberpunk was such a highly anticipated game and everybody.
They delayed it twice as well, didn't they?
Yeah, and I
That's the
think
issue, yeah.
that's probably why they felt like they had to kind of get this game out.
Yeah,
But at the
and
same
also
time,
the-
they shouldn't have really put it out because it would have been worth waiting for a polished game. But we should have all pretty much understood anyway because it's COVID. Of course, they're
But you
gonna
got to
have
remember
postpone
these
it.
developers, if let's say they put all of their money into this into the game, yeah, so they literally were running on broke by the end. They had to release it, otherwise, another 12 months of development. If they can't afford to, then it's better for them to release it. I mean, obviously they had to pull all the PlayStation
Yep.
copies of it, so obviously they massively took a hit there. But at least they got some sort of injection to cash so they could carry on the company. You got to remember these are companies at the end of the day as well.
Yeah,
They're
they've got investors to meet and all sorts, haven't they?
Is there any? Oh god.
see, that's my fear with like Dying Light. Dying Light 2
Oh, yeah.
finally has a solid release date. It's been
Oh,
postponed
yes,
3
I'm
times.
excited.
Yeah, it comes out in June. I think June 2nd, July 2nd, something like that. But I really hope it's good for the amount of times they've had to push it back. Because I love the first Dying Light.
Yeah, the first Dying Light was great. That game almost felt like it was a combination of different games into one. Almost kind of like Dead Rising, like Assassin's Creed, Mirror's Edge. It was a good hybrid of different games. So we need number 2 to be good.
Those
Is
there-
types of games fuck with my head, like platformers. Like
Yeah, for sure. Is there any developer that? Oh, I can't hear it or anything.
you're the only one talking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's alright.
Yeah.
I saw 2 people's lips moving, and I was like, okay.
no, you're good.
I was gonna say, is there any developer right now that's got like the highest reputation? Who would you say's got the best reputation right now in terms of game developers? Is the first thing that comes to mind is the people that make Dark Souls, because I don't think they've made a bad game in a while. I want to say.
I mean, I guess for me, the thing that went to my mind was something that we just talked about earlier. It would be like Mojang, because Minecraft is
Yeah.
the top-selling game. So
Rockstar.
Rockstar,
Rockstar,
those
yeah, because they've
companies.
got
Red Dead.
Redemption.
Red Dead, yeah. I was thinking Left 4 Dead, but no, yeah, Red
Even
Dead.
though
Not Left 4
Red
Dead,
Dead
that's Valve.
Online, when Red Dead 2 came out, was kind of rough.
I heard,
But
oh,
they
God, I heard
recovered.
about that.
Do you think them delaying GTA though at the moment is putting their reputation a bit like you haven't brought out a game in 5 years? Like, come on, people are getting annoyed at this point.
See, my issue with that is they're gonna want GTA to be phenomenal and as immersive as they can. Stuff like that takes time, and I think that for the most part is just a lot of impatience
Yeah,
on
for
some
sure.
people's part.
I think the problem, earlier with hating and stuff is there are just people who are really passionate about the game, so they want to see the game and the game series and all that succeed. So when they hear about like a new installment to their favorite series, obviously they get super pumped and they like follow everything about it, want to learn everything about the updates, when it's coming out, like what new features are in, what old features stayed, to the point where they just become addicted. But like, yeah, like Corey just said in chat, GTA 5 has been out for 8 years and has been remastered 3 times for 3 separate
Yeah, you got to think.
systems.
Yeah, the remasters.
People
Yeah.
can fucking wait for GTA 6. They've been waiting long enough and they still play GTA 5. They can wait
Yeah.
for GTA 6.
Yeah. Like, I'll tell you somebody I think has a pretty good reputation, too. I think Naughty Dog has a pretty good reputation. Like, most
they
of their
do.
games have been pretty spot on.
They do, but the biggest problem with Naughty Dog everybody has was Left 4 Dead as well. Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2, yeah. It was
See-
weren't the issue not the fact of like how the game looked or anything like that. Apparently it was
No,
the
the
story.
game was phenomenal. It was beautiful. It was the story.
Yeah, it
that
was
everybody
everybody.
pissed
Everybody got butthurt over the story because it wasn't what they wanted to see. I
Yeah.
thought the story was absolutely phenomenal and
I
had
love
me
the
hooked
story.
the entire game through.
Should we like do okay? Last of Us 2. It's been out for a while. There's no real spoiler warning. Do we have to give here?
No.
It's been
Well,
out
fuck no,
for
it's been
long
out for a
enough.
while. Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
So the thing that everybody got fucking pissed at was 2 main points: Joel dying.
Remind
And
for
the-
those that don't know Left 4 Dead. Why does that game keep coming up?
Come on now.
Because it's
Talking about
amazing.
Valve. Yeah.
So who is that character? And for those that are probably
Joel.
familiar, like who is that character?
Joel was the person you played as in the first Last of Us game. He was your main character who traveled with Ellie, the girl that he was supposed to bring to a like facility because she was immune to the zombification of the fungus disease, I think is what it was actually.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
Yes.
So that was your goal, and obviously over time a father-daughter bond happened, and eventually Joel didn't want Ellie to die for the cure, so he saved her, took her way back to his brother's place, and it was like a father-daughter relationship.
Yeah, and
Left-
can't forget that he
Left 4
killed
Dead.
the scientist that was
He
making the
killed him,
cure.
yes.
That ties heavy
That
into
ties
the second one.
Extremely into the second one. In Last of Us 2, Ellie found out about it. She was pissed at Joel because she wanted to be able to save the world. They had a little rough patch, but they started patching it up. Joel dies right at the beginning of the game to Abby, who is
Pretty
the daughter.
brutally.
Pretty brutally, yeah. Who is the daughter of the scientist that Joel killed to save Ellie in the first game at the end. So there's a vengeance story there with Abby, and now there's a vengeance story with Ellie, because Ellie now wants to just fucking murder Abby for killing
Yeah.
Joel, who was essentially her father. And that's what that whole story was about. It was a vengeance story. The problem is that the second part that people hate, there was no good ending to them.
No, the ending was kind of flat.
Why?
You have this big brawl on the beach at the end between Abby and Ellie after going through absolute hell, getting captured by people who want to sell them off or use them for meat or something like that, or enslave them. And it ends in this big brawl on the beach where eventually Abby and Ellie just stop and Ellie just lets Abby go.
Yep.
And then it
Okay,
just
that's
ends
bad.
with Ellie. It ends with Ellie just on the beach on her knees crying.
Well, isn't
And that
there a
was the
bit
end.
after that too? When
think
she
there's
goes
one
back
more,
to
yeah.
her house?
Yeah, and her wife is gone.
Leaves,
and their
yep, with the
child-
baby.
Yep.
Yep.
And it was just like, now Ellie's life is a living hell. There was no gratification for people who really wanted to see Ellie kill Abby because Abby killed Joel. And that's what pissed a lot of people off.
But it
To the
sounds like they built up the whole story
Yeah.
for her to get that as the end goal for him to go, nah, I don't want to now.
They
Yeah,
did.
and
That's what it was. That was the entire fucking
Yeah,
reason
I
of the
feel
story.
for him just to go, no, I don't want to now.
And to a point, I can understand where Ellie would have the change of heart based on how her character was early game and in the previous game. But don't build it up like that if you're not going to do anything with it. And then the other thing was everybody was all mad about just Abby's character in general, like her physique, everything.
Yeah, Abby was
and
like a
why?
buff chick.
People got
was a
that
buff
mad to the point they sent death threats to the
Yes.
lead developer of the
I
game and the
seen
actress
them.
that voiced Abby.
Yes, they sent death threats to Laura Bailey, the voice actor of
Yeah,
Abby.
One
I
of the
love
best
Laura
female
Bailey.
voice actors.
She is an amazing voice actress. She's amazing. And the fact that people were just so angry at the game that to the point where they're sending death threats, like through mail, email,
Yeah,
to
like-
this person who just voiced the character you hated.
Like, she has
how?
voiced so many people.
She's one of the main people in Gears of War, like the Gears of
Yeah,
War franchise.
she voiced Kate Diaz in Gears of War. She voiced Mary Jane Watson in the newer Spider-Man game, not the Miles Morales one, but the first reboot of the Spider-Man games. She voiced Mary Jane.
Laura Bailey's done good stuff, and it really
What
pains
else
me
has
that she
she
was getting
done?
death threats like for that.
Yeah, people are fucked.
Why? What do you get out of it?
You
It's,
get nothing out of it, exactly.
You can't just undo the story. Like
Oh,
Remember
she's-
the entire undo it.
She's done voices for World of Warcraft. Oh, she voiced Black Widow in the Avengers game. I didn't know that.
it's definitely a modern, like, a real problem, I feel like, and I don't think that social media is probably doing enough to address it. Like, there's still, it's still baffling how, like, you know, we had recently a lot of news outlets and like media companies had a blackout here in the UK. They wouldn't post on social media to try and raise awareness for essentially, you know, like a misuse of social media and trying to get it rectified. And then, like, obviously I know it's a sports related thing, but Marcus Rashford, who's like a player for Man United, who lost a final the other day, he said this morning, no. But I, honestly, I'm not bringing that up, Dan, even though they did lose.
I thought that was a little jab.
No. But he was saying that literally, he said within, I think, 2 hours of the final ending, yes, the guy's, you know, he's just lost a thing that he's been working towards all year. So, you know, he's going to be a little upset and whatnot. He said within 2 hours he'd received 70 messages. He's a black guy, and he said 70 messages of racial abuse. And these were people that were like, he said, like, one of them was a teacher that was literally like a primary school teacher. So he had photos of him with like children at school. And yet because they just can just put a false name, and, you know, they don't, none of their actions are in any way, like, there's no repercussions to them. They can just get away with it. And, you know, we're in 2021, you know what I mean? This shouldn't be a thing where online abuse is still so apparent. And across all, as you said, like, that was obviously a game developer that have done, you know, essentially their job. That's all they've done. They were given a script and they read the script. A footballer who's, you know, maybe not had the best performance in the world, but he's, you know, still tried his best, I'm more than assuming. And regardless, done his job. And this is, you know, there's just the herald of abuse that people get over it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. Like, it got that bad with The Last of Us to the point that the lead developer said they don't know if they're going to put out any DLC or a third game because of it.
Because
That may have just killed the series.
You got to think about it from the developer standpoint. That is got to be like mentally draining on the developers.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like,
you
like,
just
like
spent-
with what Spuddy said, even just got a completely different like job, just a sport. They're doing a job, working so fucking hard. Like, these people grind to get to where they are, and then just get shit on at the end of it. No matter how tough-skinned you are, that's still gonna fucking do something to you up here. No matter who you are, I don't care. It will eventually play on your mind. But my question to it is, what would you do to reduce it, curb it, whatever? Like,
Well,
I think
honestly,
Twitter's one of the worst places for it.
There's an
It
obvious
happens
one
on
that
all
people,
social
yeah, but the obvious one that people want to say no to because they're like, oh, Big Brother's watching and blah blah blah, is that you have to put your name, your real name, and your real, like, photo of identification to make an account, right? So, you know, Twitter, Instagram, you know, any of these social medias where you can post publicly online, that you have to show some sort of photo identification, so that if you do say, you know, a racial slur at someone or a death threat, that you'll have the police at your door saying, "Excuse me, this has been brought to my attention. Explain yourself." And then he's sitting there in his pants, you know, like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, guys." But that's the point.
I'm really
Like,
angry.
yeah, exactly. He can't. There's because it's getting worse. It feels like that step is the only way really to rectify it. And obviously, it used to be a case where you could, you know, maybe go to someone's IP, but everyone uses like VPNs and whatnot now, so that's not even a possibility in any shape or form. But then people, like, you know, like, let's say if they did that, then a lot of people would, you know, that make fun accounts, like, you know, I don't know, like, do you know the accounts that like say out of context certain people, like celebrities, and they say like out of context.
Yeah, I've seen some of them.
They're really funny accounts, you know, or like even like dog pages and whatnot, and they'll have to go. So you lose
What about Spuddy's Lamp Instagram? We'll lose that.
Yeah. Oh, everyone's gonna be gutted about that.
That's a.
But it's worth losing those jokey kind of. It's a shame because looking at some of them do make you laugh and do make your day. But if it's to stop people, like, people have probably committed. I couldn't think of any off the top of my head, but people have probably committed suicide and all sorts because of how bad online trolls, haters have been towards people. Like, if it's to stop that, then it'd be worth losing those kind of fun accounts. It'd be
well,
so
Caroline Flack's an example, isn't it?
What?
Caroline Flack here in the UK.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, she committed suicide, and it was due to because she had an accusation at her from, I think it was like domestic abuse. It was thrown at her, and obviously all she got was a tirade of online abuse for, you know, months, weeks, and then yeah, she took her life. And it's like, well, you know, if you've got to start, like, I think that there's a difference between criticism and hate. You know, people in these capacities, like, you can criticize that game developer. You can criticize them, and you can say, "I think that what you did was, you know, the wrong move." But then when it takes it to the next step, where it's either insulting or, you know, intending to, like, even if it's just saying it for violence, then that's where the line needs to be drawn. But
yeah,
like I said, the other problem is it's going to cost all of these companies money to set up. And at the moment it doesn't, so for them it makes no sense to, because they're like, unless it's a governed thing that the government say you have to do this, they're just not going to. So
Another thing that could affect is businesses, like businesses that have social media pages. But I think there's an easy way around that.
you can put the director of the company.
Exactly, director of the company. Proof that he owns the business and that he wants to make this page. There's an easy way around that, but for a lot of small businesses and stuff to get a hold of, like, Facebook, it's really hard to, unless you're a big company. So and especially, like, we'll say like animal shelters, like food kitchens, stuff like that, to like put out posts and all that about here's these new animals we have in, or here's the new special for the next week, or here's the next week's menu for anybody that doesn't have any food or like could come in and get some, like stuff like that. That would be a bit hard, especially if it's a small run place, to put that kind of identification out there. And to just get a hold of a Facebook person in general, I bet would be really hard, unless you're just a big.
I don't think it'd be that hard, because obviously if you are a company, you register as a company or you register as a charity with the government. So you've got like so when you're making the account, you would just put that number in, and they'd be like, right, tick. Yeah. So, and obviously all of those companies have someone that's liable for that company, so you can't just make a, you know, oh, there's a corner shop, and then just post a load of racist stuff, because then they'll be like, right, I'm going to go to the owner of that corner shop, and then yeah, exactly. So I think that side of things, it would be fine, but
it'll just be like a transition over for a lot of the companies, though, that you'll have to like get used to.
Would you say that a lot's not being done about it, though, because there's certain people higher up that just don't care?
Yep.
And I mean high up.
Yeah.
Governments in general and technology, they're lagging behind. I think that's fairly simple. I think that's, you've still got them pumping money into, like the government here in the UK, they're pumping money into the BBC and into TV, and they're not pumping any money into like online media, and that's taking over. I mean, they're dinosaurs realistically. You know what I mean?
Look how many TV networks now have like those plus services, the plus
the
streaming services and everything now. Paramount, Discovery, a lot of them do now.
like-
HBO.
It's like Spuddy in the UK, we have TV license. Like, that doesn't need to exist anymore.
Of course not.
Like,
No.
that thing's ancient. Like, what's the fuck? Yeah, we all have to fucking pay it. If not, we're going to court and getting fines and all sorts. Potential bailiffs taking your shit. Just because one of the main reasons is so BBC don't have no fucking adverts. Like,
I think isn't there also a radio license as well?
No, not here in the UK for radio. There isn't.
no.
We don't
But
have that here.
There's at least for me here. So
Okay.
I mean, the fact
I
that
think we have 4 national radio channels. So.
Wait, so you, over there, Link, you have to pay a license to listen to radio, certain radio
Yeah.
stations.
I think we have 4 advertisement-free radio channels.
Fuck
Wow.
me. And I thought we had it bad, Spuddy. We're just fucking BBC.
Yeah.
Shit, we're doing it to the radio.
How much it is? So I'm gonna.
Corey's just asked in the chat link. That's ham radios, isn't it? Or is it not? I don't know. We get free radio, so I don't know.
Do this.
I don't even remember the last time I listened to the radio. I get in the
Oh,
car and I
imagine.
plug my phone in immediately.
I listen to it in the car because my car doesn't have fucking Bluetooth, and I get pissed about it.
yeah.
Oh, mine don't either. I use a tape cassette adapter that has a cord coming out of it. It's literally a tape cassette with a cord
adapter.
coming out of it.
All right,
This
I'm
is
gonna have to
nice.
get that.
Oh, they're
Cassette
nice. You can
adapter.
find them on Amazon.
All
I
right.
get all the ones by RCA because they're like the best quality ones.
Oh, real quick, speaking of Amazon, Danny, how's that desk? Is it in yet?
It's in stock. I just need to order it.
Oh my god.
I completely forgot to order it. It's on my wish list. I'm gonna do that right now, actually.
I
Don't
think
mind
I
me,
just had
continue the
another
podcast, don't
Kelly
mind me.
spawn on me, by the way.
The question, like, you were saying about governments being a bit dinosaur in the way they handle things. Do you think that internet should be a right at this point? Like, similar to electricity? Because no, but as in, like, it should be government funded, because realistically, children shouldn't be able to like live in today's society without, like, to do schoolwork and to do anything like that. They need, and for most people, especially when you're working from home, it's a necessity to
It is a necessity of life now.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, especially post-COVID, I can see that coming about here soon.
Yeah, because you're spending 80 quid a month or whatever it is on internet, like for your line, when realistically, I don't see why it should be. Like,
Yeah,
we should pay for it, because it feels like almost a right at this point. It should be, but
yeah, and like
it isn't.
a lot of these schools and stuff now are doing like assistance with getting internet and stuff too for low-income families. So I mean, at this point, it should be.
Yeah, I agree that it should be
There's
provided.
actually 1% of the taxable income here,
Really?
upper
Okay.
certain limit. For even if you live for every person over 18, even if you're living outside the country, 1% of the taxable income.
Ah,
So you could not have internet but still have to pay taxes for internet?
No, it's for TV and radio.
Oh, it's for radio. Okay, I thought we were
Yeah.
talking about the internet stuff.
No, it's not.
Right. Still, like, you could not have a radio and like not have access to those radio stations and you still have to pay.
very
for it.
easily. Yeah.
That's still stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Haha, it's on the way.
You
Delivered. Ordered.
have to own a TV to pay for the license. So
Imagine shopping during your podcast.
He sold me, right? This is actually going to go on the podcast now. This is it. Shin, wait, have you got it?
I got it.
Ah, he's actually got it. So basically, right, if you're someone that likes to spend some time in bed and you don't want to sit at your desk, but you like your laptop with you.
That
Now,
desk.
Shin told me about this really cool invention that you can have a laptop desk. Now, for me, occasionally, I'll do like to go in bed and play on the laptop. But then at the same time, my wife, Beth, she does, because I stream in the front room, she does a lot of work in the bedroom. So she'll have like a laptop, a phone, a drink, and having a nice little desk there, instead of having it resting on you, heating you up or whatever. I've just gone and bought myself a
bed desk.
a bed desk
Danny,
that Shen told me about. What?
Danny, you do realize these have been a thing for quite a while.
I had no
right?
fucking
For
idea.
years.
The whole
They've been a
time,
thing for
when I've been playing
years.
PPO off stream in bed on the laptop, my stomach has been boiling because of my laptop.
Like, I'm pretty sure a year after laptops came out, these were probably a thing. Somebody thought of it.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
So-
It's fucking genius.
Thing-
Give him a raise.
The thing he was talking about was this: a little bed desk with a cup holder. Right, there it is, cup holder. So you have a cup
Isn't
holder.
this like a
Like that slot, you can put an iPad in it. You can have your laptop on it. Cup holder. Does yours have a drawer in it? Oh, it's got a drawer so you can keep pens and stuff in it.
I got my
Can that
USB.
just say-
Your voice went high.
Oh,
Yeah, because
What's
it's
his-
sick.
Danny's finally making his way out of the Stone Age.
Look at it. Look how
He
sick that
can't
is.
just buy a what's called a.
So I've literally just got on
a
Amazon and bought one.
that is
'cause
for
why not?
eating no.
I know Beth will get more
Brain
use out of
drain.
it, so I think she'll appreciate it. I might even just slide it in as a birthday present. Fuck it. Happy birthday! I'm gonna use it too.
The thing about it
I
is,
bought
though,
something
it's
for you,
pretty-
but it's for me.
It's pretty tall, so like I'm a big guy, right? It fits under me while I'm like sitting up and laying down. So the fact that it even does that and still is very stable on the bed with these like little,
Spuddy, why do you not look very impressed?
because he knows these exist.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. And
He's
also,
known they've existed for a
Oh,
while.
Isn't there like those to eat breakfast?
Maybe I
that
should
takes
get.
some
Oh, there we go.
space?
We got another buyer, Corey. Maybe I should get one. My laptop
Um,
nearly catches fire on my bed.
I think the thing for me is that I don't want that anywhere in my life because otherwise, because I'm working from home at the moment, I don't think I'd move
Leave the
from
bed,
bed. I think I'd just lay down the entire time, and I think my legs would actually just give in, and
I'm
they'd
not
be like,
gonna lie.
"What's the point in me?"
The thing that sold that for me was the cup holder.
Well, I was gonna guess that.
Yeah, just to be able to pop a cup or like a pop or whatever, just like in that cup holder and it be stable, like it's really good. The drawer is nice too, like store stuff in it. Obviously, it's storage.
Why did we even get onto that?
We were talking about
I don't
working
know.
from home. We were
Yeah.
talking about actually working from home.
Yeah, and like
That-
internet, how internet should be
Yeah.
government
Speaking about
funded
though,
at this
like
point.
working from home, what I find crazy is that Spuddy, you're still literally working from home until you said potentially September, if not longer, didn't you?
Yeah. I think basically at the moment, I think this is probably going to be worldwide as well. There's a movement where people like offices and whatnot. They're like, are they actually needed anymore? I think this has really raised people's like eyebrows and been like, we're paying for office space here. Do we need it? Because everyone seems to be getting relatively fine, like doing relatively fine on their own, in their own, environments and whatnot. Which is then going to have the ripple effect of all of these landowners, like all of these people that have bought these offices and all this office space. They're going to be like, no, you need to go back to the office because we want your
We're not
rent.
gonna make money. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So I think we're going to come to there's going to be a clash of interests very soon. I think it might be a case where, because at the end of the day, the landowners will always win. But the governments will be like, you need a certain amount of office space per company. I can see that happening.
No, I think some maybe you can cut back. Like let's say 25% of your company works at home at all times. So,
Yeah,
That's what I was
100%.
thinking, Like do shifts. Like
Yeah.
who goes in one day, who can stay at home another day. Shifts like that, so it cuts down on space, but the landowners are still getting money, so they're still happy. And the
They won't.
company still runs.
But that basically what that will mean is that there's now a huge. So that's great in theory, but then 25% of all office space is no longer used. Yeah. Let's say every company does that, and if they had 4 offices and they got 3, what's going to happen is all of the rent prices is then going to go down and down and down.
Yep.
But that'd go up. 'cause
No,
it's
it will
like-
go down
No,
because it's
because right now
competitive.
they're
There's so
saying-
much competitive. There's so much
Yeah.
competition now. They're all trying. All these landlords are like, fuck, I need this. Exactly. And so, and the more they do, and these are people that have lived off the land, so to say, and just got these rents and have just been living a comfy little life doing absolutely jack shit for all this time. And once they start getting outraged, it's going to be interesting because they are going to have to develop the buildings and whatnot into something else, houses and whatnot, but that's expensive. And also no one's buying houses at the moment realistically because everyone's lost their jobs and whatnot.
Even so, the office spaces aren't in the best of residential areas as well.
Yeah, and trying to convert office space into flats is real tough because the office space is the cheapest material possible in terms of like what the building's made out of. Like it's literally
basically a
bog
big-
standard.
Concrete block with some doors and.
Exactly.
See,
So,
and then on the flip side of that, if everybody that works in these office spaces starts working from home, then the government's gonna have to start dealing with like different tax write-offs and stuff because you could claim like X amount of electricity you use at home as a work
True,
expense.
As a work expense.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you'll
Even
be
on your
using more
internets.
electricity because you're
Yeah.
at home, won't you?
Yeah, if
Even
you're
on your
constantly on a computer or on your internet at home, you could claim like part of your internet, part of your electricity as a work expense and get that as a tax write-off.
Yeah.
There's a huge knock-on for businesses as well because let's say all these cafes and chain restaurants that are set up primarily near like industrial estates and places where a lot of offices are. If everyone's working from home, they're going to be like, "Where's our customers?" And then they go out of business, and there's a knock-on effect. And then what's going to happen is like you're just going to. I think that the government will step in and say, no, you're required to have this many. Like, if you've got 100 people working for you, you're required to have this much square foot of office space, because otherwise they're going to be screwed. I think.
But also think of climate change because if you're at home, you're gonna spend less on money on cars, less travel.
Yeah, of course. So that would be great for them for that. But then what's going to happen is that all the car companies going to be like, excuse me.
Yeah, like wait, we're not selling cars anymore.
Yeah.
What's
But isn't it
happening?
crazy,
Exactly.
like how we're all talking like, oh, I can't wait for things to go back to normal. Can't wait for it to go back to normal. Realistically, things are never going to be the same ever again. Like we're talking about so many different kind of knock-on effects because of coming out post-virus.
COVID, yeah.
Things are never going to be the same ever again. Like it might not affect certain individuals, but it's going to affect, like we just spoke about, just even just businesses and offices and stuff. There's going to be so many other things like that where there's a big knock-on effect that it's going to change things forever. That was a cat, if you saw anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's going to be.
I also
Oh,
just
go on.
got a flaffy. I also just got a
Oh.
flaffy and a frozen ball. Is all I was gonna say.
Very
Nice.
nice.
Frozen balls work better on non-ice types.
Yep, confirmed.
I was going to say there's two ways that government's going to go about this. So obviously for us it's UK, US, and then Link, where are you from? Sweden?
Oh, I thought he was going to nail it then.
Yeah. But there's two ways. They're either going to adapt with the times, which would take resources and effort and some level of competency, or they're just going to try and make everything go back. Like they're going to try and implement things to make it go back to what it was as much as they can. And I think that's probably the way it's going to go.
Armageddon Zeus.
Or Armageddon. Yeah. That is
It's
the-
going to be the economic collapse before any Armageddon will happen.
Yeah, and what you'll see is the countries that adapt and that realize what the times are and to make sure that they move with the times. They'll thrive completely.
Do you think as well, like we talked kind of about the work part of it, what about education, schools and stuff? I think primary schools and is it elementary over there in the US?
Yep.
Like ages like 10 and
5
below
through-
kind of.
5 through 10. It's called elementary.
They're different because obviously they need to be in school. They need the
Yeah.
teachers because, like, I struggled. People have seen on stream, and we've had a right good joke and laugh about it, that I can't teach my kids maths, for example. I can't do that. I had to teach my kid for the first time ever during lockdown fractions.
Oh.
So they've got to be in school, but for those that are in like college, university, maybe not so much university, but like high school, secondary school, whatever you call it in the US,
High school.
that's shown that they can do more homeschooling and lessons at home than actually going in, which for students as well, that'll even also save them money for like traveling on public transport and all of that kind of thing, because they
Yeah,
can literally
and
do
environment.
like a video call lesson. If it's say like not the practical side of things, certain courses and that need practical stuff and you've got to be in, but some of the paperwork stuff can be done at school, but at home, because a lot of like documents and all that kind of shit is online.
I kind of disagree though, because I think from the ages of 5 to 16, so I'm going for that period specifically. After that, realistically, yeah, you can start working from home, college and universities and whatnot. But high school in particular, and the early years, you're developing social skills is so important. And if you're trying to do stuff online, it won't work because there's not the same level of interaction through a screen with with your classmates as there is face to face. And if you don't try if you don't have those social skills in place, what you'll have is a load of people that get to work when they're 18 and they don't know how to talk on a phone because they haven't interacted with people enough.
Yeah.
You'll have people that don't go to work because or don't have a good work ethic because they haven't interacted with other people and whatnot. Like it just wouldn't. And also you'd have a lot of like, how are you going to implement bunking off school at that point for those ages? Because it's a mandatory, isn't it? Like up to the age of 16, possibly 18 now. It's a mandatory to be in school. If you just don't log in, what are they going to do? Or if they log in and then just put a photo of their face, what are they going to do? There's nothing they can. The teachers aren't going to do much about that.
Yeah,
So-
they can't give out detentions and shit, can they?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? Make you stay in your room?
That's it.
You're like, cool, I was in there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much you can do with it. But
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
like
it's
a
really
member of
good.
our community, Joey. Yes, I'm saying your name right if you're watching this.
Bruce
He,
Splatty. I mean, yeah.
his biggest thing was missing his friends and having that being around people, which at his age is very keen. Like
Wow.
being able to physically
I
go
think-
into. I've never heard during this period so many kids that age excited to go back to school. Like when we was all at school, who the fuck was excited to go back to school?
It's not for the school part. Nobody
No.
wants to go to school to fucking learn. They want to go
No.
to school to hang out with their friends.
Yeah, like
We've been the same since some year
they've been craving it. Like the fact, like all of us, not even just education, just missing your friends, and being able to hang out. Like with Joey, he just couldn't wait to go back.
That was the reason why I went
Yeah.
to school even in the first place. It wasn't fucking learn. It was to hang out with my friends.
To be honest, it's actually been the same. You
Yeah.
notice, like some family, if I've been to school, I'm way happy and way more excited because I've actually done something other than stay in my room.
Yeah.
Because like it gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like for a kid, like waking up. Sure, you're like, oh fuck, I have to sit in class like 6-8 hours today. But in that class, and like for like the lunch in between some classes, I get to hang out with my friends, talk about like maybe something we went through last night, or like what I found out in this game, or just from my experiences. But like,
Yeah.
it gives you something to look forward to. It's like, oh fuck, I get like something happens after school, and you weren't like online with your friends to like let it happen with. You're just like, fuck, I gotta tell the guys about this tomorrow. So like, you just get excited.
Like this is something that I've thought a lot about and like fairly passionate about. The education system is so fucked, man.
Trash.
Like when you think about it, yeah, you're never learning to learn, if that makes sense. Like you're always learning for an exam. If they had exams where you were allowed to bring in notes, what you would get is a load of people that aren't cramming the night before, but are actually trying to pay attention in the class. Like the people that would do well are the people that pay attention and like appreciate what's going on in the lessons. And like I thought let's just do a basic example of history. Yeah, when you were doing a history test, what were you trying to learn? You were trying to learn bullshit dates that realistically in 2 days after that exam you've forgotten. You were trying to learn like the bullshit little details of like what tax was implemented, or as I said, like what's the name of the general that at this battle, blah blah blah. How much better would and more educated would people be if instead of doing all of that for the space of 3 years up to your last exam, you were actually just like learning the history of in as much history as you could. Like one lesson would just be a completely different, rather than just focusing on one period for some bullshit reason. Yeah. Like you can do that when you're older. Like I just don't get the exam thing of trying to learn specifics rather than having a broad knowledge, because broad knowledge is so much better.
Me as well. My pet peeve of kind of with the education system, I don't feel like maybe they could take certain things away, but for me, I feel like they need to, especially in the younger years, kind of like high school, teenage years, you don't really get taught life, as in mortgage, insurance, budgeting, all that kind of. Everyone gets kind of taught the straight set things: geography, math, science, and then within them things, it's always structured set things, algebra, whatever. My biggest thing is like you kind of have to. You're on your own. Like I wish there was just something where you could be taught how to just kind of get through the basics of life. Like I've had to ask when I was younger. I had to ask random people around me what a mortgage is, what insurance is. All that kind of shit. I feel like schools need that.
But do you think you would have paid attention to that class realistically? Like, if there were classes specifically about mortgages and whatnot, do you think you would have paid at that age, if people were trying to tell you about a pension scheme, would you have listened? Like, would that have been as pointless as a lesson as learning about Henry VIII?
That's the right age to. At that age, you're sponges. Like kids are sponges. They'll. I know a lot of them won't take it in, but you could say that for every single subject at school.
Yeah, but that's the
with stuff like that. You need to have that kind of shit in school. Like for instance, besides Link, I'm the youngest fresh graduate from high school. Like Link, you're still in high school, right?
Yep. I'm about to in first grade. First grade.
I'm out of us here. I'm the one to have finished high school last so far. And my last 2 years, it was brought up to us that you go to a finances class. From my teacher's mouth, that finances class for 2 years was literally just teaching us how to run a budget. A budget. So it's like you make this amount of income, and if you have a spouse, they make this amount, and you learn how to budget that out between your house payments, like water, electricity, car, stuff like that. It was just budgeting and learning about a little bit of banking. But when we asked, can you teach us about taxes? She said, I wish I could, but they won't let me. Why wouldn't they let us? Why wouldn't they let her teach us about taxes?
Yeah, but your tax system's fucked, though, mate. Yeah, your tax system's fucked. So
for Americans to learn about the American tax system, because if you don't know anything about the tax system, you can honestly get fucked by the government by not knowing.
I think it could be just like one of those kind of subjects they'd have to, whether you're not going to listen in class or whatnot. There's like geography. I'd never listened in geography. Couldn't stand that class, for example. But I feel like they have to put these compulsory lessons in. Like for us, as you've just said in chat, I haven't learned any financial advice, and I can agree we actually listen to that because it's important to us. I think there'll be a lot of people out there there'll be a certain group of select kids that would listen because if they've got little jobs, little weekend jobs, mowing the lawns for certain people, they would want to kind of know whether they should save up their money, what they can do with their money. I feel like it's just key. Just not even the in-depth stuff, just basic stuff like
money management.
What it's like to live on your fucking own.
Yes, That is
How do you
something
teach that though?
I don't know because I'm
realistically,
not a teacher,
yeah.
but I'm saying it
I-
needs to be in there somewhere. I don't know how you
there's
would do
gotta
it.
be a way.
I'll
I
let
would-
someone else do that. I don't know, but it needs to be in there somewhere. Kids need to know. I know part of it is the parents as well. Like I do it with my kids. I'm teaching them stuff,
Yeah.
I give them a budget and all that, even at this age now. But I feel like for the shit that even adults don't fully know, because we was never taught it, something needs to be there. I just don't know how. I don't know. I'm not big brain.
I think that the finances side of things and mortgages and whatnot, I could see that being a subject that you learn towards your later tenure in the school.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
but stuff like living on your own and whatnot, that's life experiences that's a subjective thing as well. Like they're not at that point, they're trying to tell you how to live your life. If they start doing stuff like that, if they're like, oh, this is what we would recommend you to do to get through this and blah blah. That's all
No, but that I
subjective
meant
stuff.
like they need to know that, because not everyone's gonna know that you have to pay gas, water, electric, like the basic stuff of living on your own. Teenagers aren't gonna know. My kids don't have a clue. For example, I know they're younger than teenagers, but
Yeah.
when you're
but
a kid,
I-
when you're a youngster, all you care about is your friends going out playing, gaming, eating, back to school kind of shit. You don't. I'm
Do
on
you not
about
think
just
that
the
that's
basic
something
stuff,
that
like-
you need to independently learn though? Because at that point, are you gonna ask schools to teach kids to ride a bike? You know what I mean, to learn to swim, like fundamentals in that respect. Like what stage are we gonna say, right, that's actually not the school's responsibility, that is parents and whatnot.
Yeah, no,
Like-
I agree that it's a basic life skill that people do learn on their own. I think
Yeah.
it's more about, oh my god, a Ninetales. I think it's more about just learning how to money manage, because there are for instance, when I was a kid and I was given an allowance, if I ever was, or even into my teenage years, I get oh, here's $200 for the month. And I was like, cool. I would spend it one day. I would never save it. It's learning to manage money would be a very important thing for both parents and a school to teach, is learning how to start up not a trust fund, but start up your own banking. They don't teach you how to start a savings account at a bank at school. You have to learn that from either your parents or just by going into the bank and asking how to start a savings account. And if you have to do that online now, it's a bit harder to do that online, especially if you it's just stuff like that they I think should teach, is money management skills, which is where the budgeting came from my class. It was money management. They told us, here's the amount of money you have, budget it, manage it, make sure you can still live while also paying for your necessities. But they didn't tell us about you make 80K a year, right? We'll say that. A percentage of that is gone already because of taxes, which will come back to you come next year. It won't come back. That's what a tax return's for. But that class didn't teach us to take into account what we're going to lose of that 80K for when we need to pay those bills.
See, my issue is that teachers are there to do a job which is to try and put as much information into kids as possible. Yeah, if you're trying to put stuff that's more on the life skills and subjective element of it, that you're gonna have this problem where let's say they're not a banker, that you're trying to give kids advice on finances that they don't have yet. So and what's going to happen is either it's going to get ignored by the majority of children. What age are you doing that? Are you doing that at university level? Because that's when you start making money. You're saying this stuff theoretically to kids, and isn't it better almost for them to actually have to do that themselves and do their own research on stuff like the right mortgage to take out and stuff like that? Isn't that actually better? Because at that point you're not getting an outside influence from someone that isn't actually an expert on it. You're just getting it from another adult. Teachers, they're just other adults. And you're not gonna get a mortgage advisor to come to schools to teach for 40 hours a week, because they're making better money being a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
So you're getting lessons at that point in stuff like that from someone that isn't an expert on a particular subject.
No, all
And-
they're actually really doing is just sharing their own life skills.
Yeah,
that they
it's
learned
better
with
for you to go into a bank and find out from a banker what the best savings account to get is, or what the like. If you're trying to ask teachers to do too much, I think is a problem. They've already got enough on their plate as it is, unless you change the educational system completely. Their workload's ridiculous. So trying to ask them to try and ask them to do stuff like that, I feel is really unfair unless you really change things. Because, you know, like, it's bad enough when like teachers have got to do like sex education, for example. Like realistically, you know.
Can I put a counterpoint to it? And Kat's kind of packaged it neatly for me.
Go on.
I'm one of the examples of it as well, and there's millions of kids like that. That kids learning on their own, that's how many young adults like me, that she's on about self, but I'll say the same as well, rack up credit card debt. They don't know what questions to ask or what to look for. There is so many situations where, because you don't know where to go, who to talk to, what the fuck to do, you end up in debt, and that screws you over for so many years of your life, depending on what kind of background you've been brought up in. Like, for example, I'm probably a bit of a different case. I've not had no kind of older people behind me to kind of guide me in the right direction. There'd be so many people that don't have anyone to turn to. So then I've been in debt, still can be in debt. There's so many people out there that have racked up credit card debt because you just don't know where the fuck to go because no one's taught you. Some people don't have people to teach them. Or if they do have people to teach them, they might know not what the fuck to teach them.
Yeah, no, I completely get that.
So there is kind of like two sides to it, isn't there? Like,
yeah, 100%. It's just I just don't think that at the moment there's any way to slot that in, because
it'd be nice to, but
yeah, in an ideal world, you teach kids life lessons, and then you teach them, like, you don't teach them about geography. You teach them about, you know, like, you realize what they're good at, and then you focus them in that department. You realize they're an artistic person, you just put all of their, like, from an early age you do that as well. That would be an ideal world, but we're not living in an ideal world. We're living in an ideal world where a gifted student's in the same class as a non-gifted student for the majority of their life. Someone that's artistic is put into, you know, non-artistic classes for 90% of the week. You know, that's the education system at the moment. It's not in any way like, you know, about the individual. You're just put into a blank classes and you're stuck there until you're 16, you know, and nothing really changes. You get a couple of options, but that's about it in terms of what you want to go into. So I just don't see where you're gonna find the place to do those lessons. And I think that you're not gonna get any funding off, like, bankers or credit card companies to do that, because they want naive people, because that's how they make their money. So and at the end of the day, the school is owned by the government, and the government are also taking money off these banks and whatnot. So they want people to, and this is the world we live in, they want people to be naive and to not do this stuff, so that they can fund, you know, fund everything.
The rest of the world.
Exactly, yeah, they can fund the police and whatnot. It's, if they were fair, then yes, you would learn all this stuff, but it isn't fair, and you're not going to. Is essentially it. I feel like it's the same with you saying about taxes, that they won't teach you taxes. How much of that is because the government know that if people do not have the correct information about taxes, that they will either pay more or that they can get fines out of people? Like,
I think it's more towards like getting the fines out of people.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
So the government are treating you like arseholes, because at the end of the day, being an arsehole is funding them.
Yep.
So, and that's why you're getting taught constantly about, you know, like, a religious education for 5 years, like for the UK anyway. You're getting taught religious education for 5 years, but you're not getting taught this stuff. That's the reason. It's because one, properly benefits you from the day to day and gets, like, competent adults straight away, but the other, it just, you know, it gives you information that you're going to use relatively little, and it doesn't even teach you the right stuff, really. It doesn't teach you how to respect other religions, for example. It just teaches you, you know, what the name of the 7th book and all of this shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
But it's a dilemma. Either you can be fair and you don't funding, or you can be unfair but get funding. Neither.
Yeah, it's either you be an asshole to somebody to make sure you're okay, or you be nice and fuck yourself over.
Our country isn't even funding school meals, mate. So like you're expecting all of this stuff from them. It's crazy.
Can I say something about school meals? They are pretty, at least for me, we have a select so if French school, the school meals can be so bland that they are taste bad.
Hey, at least they're keeping you alive, though, mate.
When they try to put actual effort in it tastes bad. And the longer the name, the worse the meal is. Because, oh god,
No, I feel that with like school meals being
so many
horrible.
people have so much things about the school food that you can talk that's a entire podcast of itself.
What's your favourite school meal, though? Like, what's the one that bangs? There must be one.
Thanks. I don't know.
For me, it was
Yeah.
biscuits and gravy.
It's nothing that really sticks out, but most of it is not. Lasagna maybe. So some food that you can't really mess up.
Mine would be that cake. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but it was like
I know what you're on about right now. Yeah.
sponge cake. It was like a
Pink
square
icing.
shape,
Sponge
and
cake,
it had
right?
a
Pink
nice,
icing.
perfect layer of icing on top. I think it was rainbow as
Sprinkles.
well, weren't it? And some
Yeah,
sprinkles on the top
sprinkles.
of it.
Yeah.
That hands
Another
down
one.
best food at school.
The sponge was like pure white and like almost crumbly as well, if that makes sense, compared to most crumbs. Oh, yeah.
I miss that. I do miss that. All the other
Yeah.
meals, I don't really care about that. About
They
them,
were
but that.
awful.
God,
We had chicken and chips once every 2 weeks. That was good.
well, no. For me, we have I think fish every Wednesday, but the thing is, they use so cheap fish that it's bad. It doesn't taste anything.
It's like frozen.
Yeah,
And it's like just
and don't
reheated.
get me started on salmon, which is pretty much a brick of sand. Yeah, it's so dry, but it's a brick. It's
Got a young
dry,
Gordon Ramsay
it's
over here.
hard.
Oh, dear.
I refuse to eat because God,
Cook
this
it right,
coffee.
you fucking donkey!
God, that's one for the numbers. God, I don't know
God,
how
yeah.
they manage. The only way I think they manage is to have perpetual heating.
Damn it.
Oh, no.
Alright,
Oh.
Dan. Got another
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, come on, Dan. Sort yourself out.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, one more thing I did want to ask is with this is like a completely different subject change.
Shove the subject out the
Good.
window.
Yeah.
In talk about the video editing. Well, yeah, we have got that coming out soon, so stay tuned on the YouTube channel because we have got the next episode of the Mario race between me and oh my god, he's splatty on all the fucking videos.
Joey.
Fucking hell. Between me and Joey, and it's actually one of the first videos like properly edited on my channel, which is gonna look sick. So I can't wait for that to come out. But I did kind of want to go along the right kind of lines with Nintendo and throw out a question of this is not Pokemon. If you want a new game to come out on Nintendo only, what would you pick? Would you want another sequel to another game? Is there anything else coming out that you're excited for that has just been rumored? Is there anything groundbreaking that the Switch either needs or that you want? Because the Switch is a big console for all of us within like this community, isn't it? So, like, would you want a new Zelda game? Would you want a new Tetris 99? Because I know there's some really addicts in here.
Is there any sociable game on the Switch right now? Like, really sociable game? Because I think that's one thing that it kind of needs. Like, one that you can properly play with your mates.
But probably the odd Lego games, multiplayer games. I think Diablo is one. Lego games are always fun to play with a mate.
Holy crap, Cat, you're absolutely correct.
Mario Kart, yes, Cat. And even
Remake or like port in the old Mario Party games and give them online functionality.
Yes.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say that the Mario Party that you brought out multiplayer, and like the games itself, I just don't think they're incredible. And also if you actually play Mario Party, it's so slow, like in between like all the roles and whatnot. Like I just want to constantly play mini games, please. I don't know if there's that option.
Excuse a mini game. Just instead of more part, just mini games.
Yeah, 100%. Like the rolling the dice and whatnot, and like trying to play the board game is so boring, and it makes it so slow. It makes every game like 45 minutes.
You know, there is a mode in some of the Mario Party games where you just play the mini games. There is a mode like that.
Me and my girlfriend play it all the time. We would literally just go on to the thing and just click mini games. But when you're playing online, I think you can only do the party elements. You've got to do the whole rigmarole of throwing it, rolling, and blah blah blah. So, yeah, I think more social games for the Switch is kind of important. Because at the moment you've got like
social games for sure.
You've got Fortnite that's on it.
There are social games, like not counting like the BRs and stuff like that. But the social games like the Jackbox Party games, the Mario Party games, stuff like that. The Jackbox Party games, you can play online. I mean, if you stream it, you can play online. But like the Mario Party and a lot of the Jackbox Party games, like Overcooked is on there. Overcooked 2 is online, but like Overcooked itself is a couch game, is a couch party game. I would consider those couch party games where it's local multiplayer, where you need to have people there. For people that, especially now that the world got separated and it's more online, you need to have those games either just, if you're going to port up the Mario Party games, which I really hope they do, give them online integration so people can play online instead of on a couch or on a bed. Because don't get me wrong, I love having my friends over and like us playing a Mario Party game or something. But after a while, like, we just don't want to play that anymore.
So
I think the best social game, I guess, on Switch would probably be Smash. Just because that's like the most popular one.
Yeah, definitely.
What about this as an idea? Oh, go on, Link. I've got an idea that's a banger.
Just gonna make a comment. Nothing big.
Okay, so we all know how big Fall Guys was for a good time, yeah?
Yeah.
So 99 person, it's got the Battle Royale thing going on. And we've all watched Danny recently do Race Mario with Joey.
Yes.
Okay. What if those two worlds collide and you've got races with other little people around you in a Mario world, and you've got to collect rings as you go, and you've got to collect coins.
Boy, do I have news for you.
I know that. I know that.
That's
I know
just
that.
Mario Kart almost.
Nah, that's not. No, I'm on about like as in like a Mario Odyssey style look.
Oh, okay.
And then Fall Guys kind of make it together. So as you said, you're getting from A to B, or you've got to collect the most coins and whatnot, and it's in a Mario world.
So maybe go like it puts you into a random like Mario Odyssey or Mario Galaxy world, and it's like a certain mission. So it's like
exactly
first like when it's up to 99 people, it's like first 75 to complete the mission, move on. That could kind of fuck you.
It doesn't even have to be 99 either. It could be like 4 to 8 and make it just like little races and whatnot from it.
Like first
because
4 to complete, move on.
The only competitive Mario game I can think of is like, no, it's not even competitive. You could do like races on what's it called, Mario Maker, I suppose.
There's that anniversary game that came out where it's the original Mario game and you race with 99 people to get through them.
By that say Pac-Man.
Yeah, but
there's that came out.
I think that's a banger idea though.
I am there. Similar to Mario 99, but it's the first people to complete the course.
Yeah, it's first people to complete the course there, yeah.
Instead of just running through the course every time.
Yeah. So like that would be a good idea. But I think for me, as far as like what series I would like to see or like what installment, there's like 2 things that I could think of. One, just because it's a personal bias, a new Fire Emblem game. I just like Fire Emblem. I'm a big strategy RPG fan. So for me, seeing another like really cool like game from a franchise I already love would be nice. But to touch on a game that is coming out, that we know for sure is coming out because we have the date for it now. It's in January. Pokemon Legends Arceus. I think they could do a multiplayer with that to where we can actually just invite people to our Sinnoh and run around Sinnoh with them. I think that would be fan-fucking-tastic to just invite people to your Sinnoh, dance around with them, go catch Pokemon, and then have them leave and stuff. Kind of like Animal Crossing, you know? Oh, that's another social game, Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Another thing I was just thinking of. Hasn't been a good Sonic game in a while, is there? I know it's not Nintendo.
Sonic's like gonna morph with something I saw soon. It was
Yeah.
Like Sonic Mania, some evil.
But like
Those
an
like
online, like
Sonic
bringing
was
Sonic into an online thing could be
really
cool.
died during the early 20s when you pumped out crappy, no polished games like Sonic 06, which is impossible to not glitch. Okay, you are a good player if you don't find a glitch. Okay,
Yeah.
it's
They
just
brought out Sonic film, but they haven't brought out Sonic game.
Yeah, the problem with Sonic is, it was like, what was the last Sonic game that came out? It was Sonic Boom, right?
Well,
Yeah.
can I pause you all? Frozen in chat has just said, did you see the Sonic presentation?
Okay,
the
am
thing
I-
I was talking about, I thought I saw, wasn't Sonic about to merge with like Minecraft or something?
Oh no!
Eh?
Have I thought of something that is already happening? That it?
I saw, it was a glimpse while I was scrolling through news on my phone, but I saw Sonic merge Minecraft while scrolling through. I went back and looked and I went, what? Okay, and then like kept
Ooh la
going,
la.
but like, it might have just been like a phony article that somehow made it on my Google News page, as like half of them are. Like, I was like, what the fuck? That's a bit of a weird pair, and I just moved on.
Yeah, there's definitely a 2020s Sonic game that's needed. Like, as in, like,
Sonic-
come to the modern day. Proper.
There you go.
A proper Sonic 3D game, like Sonic Boom, Sonic 06. That what should.
Oh, there
be-
you go. Sonic Colors remake on Switch and a new game coming out.
New game coming out.
Sick.
I was going to say, because they did the film, didn't they? Like,
Yeah, that you can't. That it was a good film as well. You can't not jump on the back of that and use that as a promotional tool for a new game. If it was just really poor marketing, if they do that.
Sonic the movie.
because look at the graphics of Mario Odyssey and then do that with Sonic.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
sublime.
mean, they did that with Sonic Boom. That's like Sonic Boom was like Mario Odyssey. Like as far as like the camera went, controls or not controls, but like
Yeah.
the camera, like it was like free roam, like stuff like that. That's what Sonic Boom was. But it's just Sonic Boom was also just a very glitchy,
Yeah.
very poorly made, bad game.
You've got to do more with it because like it works with Mario Odyssey because you can have so many different things because Mario changes into so many things and there's so many abilities, blah blah blah. Sonic's are run quick, so you've got to do something new with it. You've got to, I'm not an expert on what you could do with it, but you've got to, if you're making it a race, you've got to make it fun. Do you know what I mean? Like people are they've had so many Sonic games where you run and collect coins as you go. You got to make something new with it. I think like that's what games a lot of times like don't realize. It's got to be a little bit new at least. Like people love nostalgia. Don't get me wrong, but if you're gonna do the same thing over and then, you need to make it really fundamentally good.
That makes people afraid of like. I think that should make Pokemon fans afraid of like having that thought process with companies thinking that way, because it's absolutely true. I mean, Game Freak, I would say, relies heavily on just the nostalgia factor of Pokemon, because it's like people played Pokemon since they were a kid. Most of our groups are playing Pokemon now. Of course, they're gonna buy this game. Why would they not? I mean,
We've
every now and
discussed
again
this.
they push it out again, yeah. But like, eventually they're gonna have to start adding new stuff. Like the Dynamax stuff was great. I love that they're adding new stuff. It's just Arceus better be good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
They
I think
better not rely too heavily on the nostalgia factor and not give us like cool new little gameplay shit.
we said this that like it basically it needs to interact, like have that interaction that you've got from Snap. It needs to put that into a game where you can actually battle as well. Otherwise, people are gonna if it's basically just a different angle of the what's it called, the open world part of not open world part, but yeah, open field part of
It could be a big pinnacle
Sword and
point
Shield.
of Pokemon, though, couldn't it? If it is just like a little like you said, it could be pinnacle for Pokemon. If they get this wrong, this could be really bad for them.
I still think they're going to do normal shift battles. I think that's crazy. I think you've got an open world thing like that. That's so... I don't get it.
We've
Do
seen-
something new.
We've seen the battle system. We've seen a glimpse of it. There was like I think it was like a guard of wire and something else. It was
I
literally
think
just a turn-based combat.
Yeah,
Nah.
Gallade versus Garchomp, I think.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
At least they spice up the animations. if
Yeah,
they
like-
do a turn-based battle.
Nah, that's not good enough though, really. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be something new.
They give you like a free roaming camera during the battle now or whatever, and it's like on a different angle.
Oh,
Yeah, we did in a previous podcast. We have gone like proper in depth on kind of the ideas of. Go and watch that, by the way. Of what ideas of what we would want to see in kind of a game like that. Like, we put just a small group of us put together so many good ideas that aren't kind of out of reach, but are kind of things that are in games today. I can't even think of some off the top of my head, but we did come up with good ones that are possible to do because other games have them.
I think the big one was having a battling system where it's not strategic based but skill based, if that makes sense. So having
one,
something, yeah. So rather than, you know, oh, this is super effective to get this, blah 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 blah, having something that's interactive and you're doing something actively, and have that as the battle thing, and like something new. Just change it up. You've had 25 years. You literally made it the other day. You had 25 years of this game, and you've not made you've used the same battling system. And I understand that people enjoy it and will be like slightly outraged, but change it for one game, surely.
Do you mean like Pokemon Go, where it's like when you were doing a charged attack, you had to like
Yeah.
swipe and stuff on the screen in order to power
But
up
instead
the
of
move
having,
even more?
yeah, but 100% something like that. But because you're on a Switch, which has so much more, you know, like CPU, and you know can do a lot more with, and you're not having to touch. You can use, you know, buttons and whatnot. Just something skill based. It just makes so much sense in my head. To just try once. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong, and people will get outraged. But how many
talk
games
about-
they've had?
Yeah, they've had a lot of chances. To
Yeah.
talk about like a game that took Pokemon, put their own twist on it, and in my opinion, improved on a lot of the stuff for it. Nexomon. It's a game that isn't really known that well, I don't think. I mean, I think it gets outshined by like Temtem, which is like the other really popular Pokemon.
That's the one I'd heard of. Yeah.
Yep. But like Nexomon, for instance, as far as like interaction with like doing the battle and stuff, there's not really much interaction like when you pick a move and stuff, but when you catch a Nexomon, you like throw out the little pyramid, and then when it goes into the pyramid, a little ring pops up of different button sequences that you put in, and once you get it all the way through, then the chance goes through to catch it. If you fail that, you're timed on it, and if you fail that, it just fails. There's a part of skill in there for catching the Nexomon, because if you fail that button sequence, you don't catch the Nexomon. Like, you have to complete that ring there in order to have a chance to catch that Nexomon in the first place. So to put on like putting extra skill in, that's it.
Yeah. So it's so reliant on ancient mechanics.
Really important there. Actual importance is just stomach where choices matter in story. Let's say you have to choose between doing a battle or defeating evil team. Depending on which you choose, the levels change. Or the champion, Elite 4, team leaders, a big stretch, but more importance of dialogue itself.
I remember like a big problem with Pokemon was just like everybody, especially like just like the older audiences and stuff, and like the people who have been around for a very long time, and like the people who like do competitive stuff, they're like, the Pokemon games are too easy. Like, it's something that Nexomon did, to touch more on it, is they have a challenge mode in Nexomon where you can give yourself a disadvantage throughout the entire game to make the game more challenging. And Pokemon doesn't have anything like that, really. I mean, you can imply that on yourself with like locks and stuff, but there's no way to customize that like what Nexomon did. It's just they're sticking to the, you pick a Pokemon starter, you go through the game, you beat the evil team as well as while collecting the gym badges, become the champion, congrats, you beat the game. Like, that's it.
One of our big points of it was the story. Like, it'd be dope. It'd be dope for them to give us a more gripping story. It could be done. It could be done. How many? Shin, you're the person that taught me about ROM hacks and stuff. How many different fan-made games are out there that it's the core game of Pokemon, whatever.
Core game.
But the stories that these people create are phenomenal.
They are
Like, yeah, there's some 18
absolutely
plus. You
awesome.
don't have to make it 18 plus,
No.
but it doesn't need to be the
I've played
same.
great
Oh,
games.
you have a rival, you beat the bad guy team, the end. It doesn't have to be like that. Fan games have shown that it doesn't need to be.
Oh, go on.
I was about to say, we've played, like me and Frozen in chat. We've played so many different ROM hacks, so many different just people who are very passionate about Pokemon that want the game to be better and say, here's how I think this we can make this game better. Here's my ideas that I would put in by being a ROM hack creator, and it's just I think a majority of the people who make ROM hacks, like Game Freak, Nintendo, they should hire them because they have great ideas, not just for gameplay elements, but for story. There are amazing stories in some of these ROM hacks that just go unnoticed because Game Freak admittedly wants to kind of shut that stuff down because they're using our product. So ROM hacks are absolutely free, by the way. You don't pay a dime for them. There's no profit being made off ROM hacks.
Pokemon, your enemies have really good ROM hack, I assume. In Pokemon, your types, it's an extremely interesting story. It's fun.
I think the oh, go on, mate. Sorry.
I think there's a bunch of hard, but the problem with ROM hacks for me at least, it's either based on clickbait or extremely hard. Currently, there's not much interesting new games.
And the clickbait stuff that you always end up seeing with ROM hacks are up to Gen 7 or Gen 8. So you have all Pokemon from Gen 1 through 7 or 8. They have this physical special split so that way people don't have to rely on their Gen 3 and past knowledge of how the typings work. Or and they'll say oh, we have Dynamaxing or we have Megas or stuff like that. It's just selling points because there are people who really love being able to Mega Evolve and stuff like that. For a lot of ROM hacks that I found have increased shiny chances and even custom shinies for the shiny hunters. There are ROM hacks built for shiny hunters that love playing through Pokemon games that also just want a shiny hunt as well. So Radical Red, it hits all of the points for me. It is quite possibly the hardest Pokemon game I've ever fucking played. I have raged so much at the game, spent so much time looking into competitive stuff, and so many hours making teams just to get past one Pokemon of this dude's team out of 6 he has. But it's taught me so much. And with Radical Red, I think it hits all the things. It's a hard game. It's harder anyway. It's definitely recommended for people who know what they're doing, but it will teach you as well. And then shiny hunting is very easy in it. I've shiny hunted on Radical Red on my own and on stream so many times. It's really easy to shiny hunt on that game. It has Dynamax Dense. You can Dynamax. It has Mega Evolution. It has Mega Evolution. It hits all the points there. And the story, it's not bad. It's kind of run of the mill as far as story. It is still pretty much just you become the champion at the end. But it's the journey going through for that one that really makes it fucking worth it. I haven't played a Pokemon game in a long time where it says, congrats, you're the champion, here's your Hall of Fame team, and I went, fuck, that was hard. Or fuck, that feels good to see. I haven't had an actual experience like that in a real Pokemon game in a long time. Probably not since fucking Pokemon Platinum when that released. My first Pokemon game.
Yeah.
I never felt accomplished for beating the game.
Yeah, Shin, I'd like to get your opinion on this, but I kind of bring it up with on that podcast that we spoke about before. But the two things that from a not Pokemon avid fan that I've never understood why I don't have. One, why if you don't watch the anime, you have no idea what the personality of these Pokemon are like. They're just generic sprites. So because there's no interaction or anything like that. Two, why do you think it would be mental if the next Pokemon game there were voice actors? Because for me, you're talking about a story.
Amazing.
You're just talking about a story in those, and how can you have a more engaging story if you can hear the actors? It's not like Pokemon are against it because they got the anime. Do you know what I mean? Why? Again, my thing is just like 25 years. How has neither of these things happened at this point? It just feels crazy. Like, if you didn't play Snap, you wouldn't understand that like half the interactions and what like Pokemon's movements are like and blah blah blah. And without the anime, you wouldn't know what the Pokemon like talk like and really sound like, because no one listens to the cries. Do they? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Like, yeah.
the games alone, you would never know that Pikachu is Pikachu. Do you know what I mean?
No. Other than the name, like,
Yeah.
voice acting in Pokemon is something I have fucking wanted since like I think Gen 6. Like, I didn't even play X and Y like when it released, but I wanted voice acting. Like, that was like a main selling point for me. It's like just having that in there would make the game a lot better, in my opinion. It just it kind of blows that it's not there. Because yeah, you'll learn a lot about the characters as well. Like, for characters that you may not have given, like if Hop had a voice, I might have actually cared about him a bit more.
Yeah. Now he's basically another trainer.
You build a connection with the voice and not text.
Yeah, if Hop had a voice, I may have cared more. If Leon had a voice, I may have been a bit more intimidated by him. Don't get me wrong, Leon was still actually a decently hard champion to fight, but if he had had a voice to make him sound like as intimidating as he actually was, I maybe would have cared more about fighting him.
It would have made the game a little bit more immersive, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Sure.
like, if
I reckon this, yeah. I reckon people care more. There are more people that care about random shop NPCs in Skyrim than there are that care about gym leaders. One of the like, main 8 people in Pokemon games. 100%. A million %. Like, one of the most popular trainers of all time is someone because their name's Knob. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally, that's it. Because that's the only character you can get out of them. And like the occasional line that they give you. Like, fuck
Like
me.
how Joey has a top Rattata, or like he likes to.
Yeah.
that's a good point, Crep. I think the main character needs to have a voice, or at least a dialogue box. Our main character
Something.
needs to say something, you know? Because it's like, how many times has it happened in a Pokemon game where you have this interaction with the enemy group, right? And then that interaction goes through, you walk out of the base and you're walking back towards the center to heal. Your rival or the champion or like the gym leader walks up to you of that town and they're like, oh, what happened? And then it's like silence, and then the exclamation point appears above their head and they're like, what? This and this and this happened, when instead your character just went in there, beat the crap out of a bunch of the guys. I met an admin of the team, I drug them out, we need to get on them. Like, it just makes the game a bit more like, I think the same problem was with Zelda as well, wasn't it? Like, Link never had a voice.
Nope.
Yeah,
Like,
but
It made him,
like
besides
that game at least is in the 21st century though. Like Breath of the Wild is a really pushing the boundaries game. Like Pokemon, the amount of money that game makes, and yet they're sticking to technology that's fucking ancient. Frankly, like. Let's be real, I think that you could make the newest Pokemon, probably without the exception of the online stuff. I think you could make it on the Wii, do you reckon? Quite easily?
Probably, yeah.
I reckon you can
Probably,
make, yeah. I think if you really pushed one of the old DSs, you could get most of it on, I reckon. Like, this is the 21st, you got a Switch with all of these things and you're not doing anything with it. I mean, nothing at all.
Think about this. If you look the difference between Gen 4 and Gen 5, they're just testing out the console, probably just testing out limits of the console, like how will it handle for the future.
Yeah, but you've got a system that can play Fortnite on it with 99 people at a time. You can't tell me that they're not even trying to push the boundaries of that game. Not even trying.
Also, they also had Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee before Sword and Shield, so.
Yeah. No, they've had like it's 20. I don't want to stop bringing up the 25 years thing, but they've had so many opportunities to do this, and
for
they
sure.
just know that they can. This Diamond and Pearl thing, yeah, like this game's
Yeah.
coming out. Name me a new technology they're going to be bringing into it. I bet there isn't one.
No,
I
there's
bet the whole
probably
thing.
not. There's probably
No,
not.
like, but yeah, everyone will still buy it because of the fact that it's nostalgia,
Yeah.
and like, I just. It feels really like I feel sorry for you guys almost like the die-hard Pokemon fans. No, but like in a way
I'm
that
with you, yeah.
like it's the same. It's the same. You know that with other things like Call of Duty, for example, was a game that they had that limit pushed. They brought out something new and exciting. Like most franchises, at least have something that they're like, right, let's do something new.
Sorry,
You lot haven't.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, absolutely.
You just reminded me of Call of Duty about they're one of the perfect game companies that took a risk. You have to take a risk. They did, because I used to be a big Call of Duty fan, not so much anymore because it does feel like same old. They did jetpack boost jumping shit a few years back.
Oh,
That
yeah, with
was
Advanced Warfare.
groundbreaking with Advanced Warfare. It was fun for the first few months till people obviously got tired of it, but they tried something new. Like the fact you could boost jump in the air, kind of almost Titanfall-esque, like that changed Call of Duty drastically. So the next three, because of the game cycle, blah blah blah, that changed like the next three Call of Duties like after that. But then they reverted back because the fans weren't happy with it. But at least most of the fans now can take a step back and look at it and appreciate they took a risk
Yeah.
to try and change the mechanics of a game to make it different, which we've not had Pokemon take a. Well, hopefully this Arceus could be them taking a risk. Hopefully, but
I have a thing on that. But would you say that as far as taking a risk goes, Pokemon introducing Megas, Dynamaxes, like different forms, would you say that was taking a risk, or just like fuck, we need to give these guys something new, and they just need to deal with it?
It's more of
A gimmick.
You know,
A
yeah,
gimmick.
it's more gimmick.
that's yeah.
More of a pushing out the more content without creating new content.
It's an animation.
You know what
That's
I'm
it.
saying?
Literally, both of those things. They're just animations. Like the Mega evolving into something bigger. It's just an animation where it goes whoop into that new thing. You still press the same button of, you know,
Hit the
serve.
Mega
Yeah,
ball
exactly.
button,
Yeah,
yeah.
or the you know the like excellent the. I can't remember the Z move.
Z moves,
That's,
yeah, I forgot about those.
That's it. That's what you're pressing. You're pressing the same button though. You're not doing anything
Yeah,
new.
the button just looks different. It's just the same
Yeah.
button. It just looks different, isn't it?
It's a different move.
We have a special button that just changes a look.
The biggest
That's
risk
it.
that Pokemon have taken, Pokemon didn't take, and that was Pokemon Go. And they didn't do it. Another company did.
Yeah, no, that was Niantic.
Yeah. That's the biggest risk that the Pokemon franchise has taken, and they didn't do it. It was someone else. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... Unless this Arceus game really brings... Because I'm slightly worried that you're going to get just a game
Shot
that's... Yeah, I'm really hoping that you don't get where all the Pokemon are just floating about from left to right. I hope that there's some interactions with I hope they just basically put Snap into a game, and that'll be as close as you can get to something new and exciting. If they put the animations and whatnot and the characteristics of Snap into a Pokemon, and the battle style of things, it'd be really cool, 100%. But if what you get is just the open world, but
What we've
and
already
also,
had.
is this Arceus game even going to have like gym leads and that, or is it literally just an open world?
We
As
don't know yet.
far as we know, it's literally just your main objective in Legends Arceus is just completing the dex.
So Safari
Catching-
Zone, basically.
Catching
Mm.
every Pokemon.
Because
Yes.
they've told us, all we know is this is before times Pokedexes were a thing.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is.
So we're
you're
technically
creating
discovering
the first
certain
Pokedex.
Pokemon for the first time ever.
Man, this is
Yeah.
bollocks. Isn't it? Like, how you haven't got a storyline with this? Yeah, I mean, you've got some of the like. So this is just glorified Snap then, with a couple of you can battle.
Oh, no,
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's gonna be like the Gen 4
I hope
Pokemon
not.
like Shinx. It's gonna be like we haven't seen a Shinx yet, and then you're gonna be there like I've seen
Yeah, I
this
have.
Pokemon for 15
Yeah.
years.
For those watching
really,
on
really-
YouTube, though, we do cover this topic quite a lot in all of the podcasts. But I will say, though, is one, it's because one of our main games. A lot of us are passionate about it, and this will keep propping up as a conversation. leading up to the game because we don't know what to expect. There's things we want, like you do with any kind of game, so it's gonna keep propping up in a conversation. But I'm gonna do another last complete subject change and ask you all a really interesting question of if we was in the Matrix right now and you had the choice to be given one skill and one skill only, and you don't have to learn it, you just know that skill, what would it be?
Talking to animals.
That was very quick for you. You're not normally quick on answers like that.
Take over the world.
No,
with
but it
that.
could be like a skill like
You're not wrong.
probably. Alright, I'll change it then. More a realistic
Is
skill.
it an achievable skill? So is
yeah,
it something
say
that someone else
like-
can do right now?
Like something boring, like I don't know. I'm thinking of a boring example. Like I know how to do construction. Like something sick that you want to learn, but you'd never be able to, or whatever.
In a really boring answer that would make like just a lot of job prospects. Like I'd never have to work a day again in my life. Basically, if I could learn every single language instantly. If I learned all the languages, but like that, because that's what this spirit gave me. I'd just be a translator for the rest of my life, and it'd be a piece of piss. All you're doing is talking. I
Just
love
be a
talking.
translator. Yeah, that'd be perfect. For you.
Yeah, no, literally, and that would be it. And if I don't know how valuable it would be, but if I was fluent in every language simultaneously, I imagine that I'd get
that's
snapped
actually
up by
very
governments.
valuable.
Yeah, I'd
that's
get
very
snapped up by
valuable,
governments and whatnot instantly. So yeah, I think that'd be it, because it would I'd never have to work a day in my life again, and I'd probably earn.
And there's some
quite a-
hard languages out there to learn as well.
In the garden,
Especially
Yeah.
like I've heard learning Japanese is very fucking difficult apparently.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
there's
is.
also a bunch
And I
of
think they've got
African
like
languages.
around that region they've got like there's certain languages that
Sub-languages.
I can't remember what they're called, but there's certain languages that are almost Japanese Korean-esque that are close to it. There's a YouTuber that does it. He speaks them very well. When he speaks to these people, it blows their minds that he can speak their language because he's an American.
Oh, I'd go viral as well. Sick.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, you
'Cause
would
you
go
would
viral if
know
you make a YouTube channel out of it.
The most, yeah, I think that's the word I'm looking for, Kat. Dialects, because you would know the most difficult shit that not many people are
Yeah.
willing to learn. Like that's
Nah.
props for that, bro. I was just gonna pick something like coding, but fucking hell, your shit's all over mine.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to. For me, I wouldn't want to learn coding because that is a minefield. So to know that skill just like that, that'd be fucking great. Because I don't mind it, it's all right. But I wouldn't want to fucking go through the process of learning it. Like somebody
that's
want
still
to go through the
work.
process of learning languages.
All I'd have to do is literally just
depending on
be there.
the closest languages. No, you know, not that. Let's say I think that when you speak, it takes about 200 hours of hard practice to learn.
Yeah, imagine going through that. Somebody just skips all that.
Yeah, so if you know some Southeast East Asian languages, you learn all the languages
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
open up to everything.
So Shin and Link, what skills? What skill would you learn if you got given the chance?
You want to go, Link, or do you have an answer?
Oh
Because I do.
god. It depends on how broad can that skill be.
You just get given a skill. You have one free pass to be given the skill. We're in the Matrix. You've just been granted one skill. What you're taking on board, it's got to be realistic. Like, I think we'd all talk to animals. That'd be sick. I'm not gonna lie. I want to talk to animals, but something like that you can
find out why
use in your
Orion's
life.
such a dickhead.
What, so you can tell the cat's just got shitting everywhere?
Oh, bro, if
Oh,
I
yeah,
could
for sure.
talking cat, oh my god. You're all evicted. Get out.
Get out of the house!
You're evicted. Get out.
Oh,
Fine.
If I
And they'll
could
leave.
talk to Orion, I could look at him because he just dug into like a cat bag that we had, like of food. Now there's ants all over it because he broke into it. So if I could talk to Orion, I would just look at him, I'd point him and go, "What the fuck is wrong with you? If you were hungry, you should have just fucking told me."
Mate, I'd go to rich people's houses and teach their dog about like using the toilet. I'd make so
They
much
never
money.
have to
You would
worry
blow their
about-
minds.
Exactly, yeah. If I went up to a dog and was like, ruff, 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 and then they started shitting on the toilet, oh my god.
You know what?
Rich
You know
people would
what,
give
Spud?
serious money for that.
Yeah.
You know what, Spud? That ties into the skill you want. Just learning every language. You
Yeah.
can say animals a language. Like
Yeah.
animals.
Just learn cat. Just learn a bit of dog.
Just learn dog. Like
I'd also take over the world though, because I'd be like every single bird. I'd be like, right, I want you to find. You're
you
now.
are my eyes in
You are
Egypt in the
spies for
sky.
me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
I want his password. Go get his password.
Taught him to fly on
Jesus.
the wall, learn every
Bill
gun
Gates
so
login
you can
details,
learn.
please.
Smart. No, Skinmark. It's being smart as like super like
Oh, that's
evil
brilliant.
genius smart good enough or
So what would yours
It needs to
be
be a
then?
skill. It can't just be I'm smart.
Yeah.
So you want
That's
you
the
want
problem.
the skill of learning so you can become smart.
yeah, like the skill of learning is I can learn languages, how
So
pretty
like
much everything inside it, psychology, physics, math,
so maybe like
chemistry.
the skill to retain information better.
Hey,
Yeah.
We'll say.
You just said you basically just said I want an IQ of 7,000. Thank you. All right.
Yeah,
cheers.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll manipulate it. What would you do, Shim? What would you be given?
I would want I don't know if this is classified really as a skill, but I would want the pill to give me the drive to become good at whatever I wanted to do. So for instance, I could make bank off that because if I have the drive to learn and like actually be good at something, like for instance, we'll say TFT, I could become one of the best TFT players in the world and get paid to just play TFT. Or I could become like a Pokemon World Champion and go to tournaments and win those and be paid for it. Or like and then not to mention if you're good at like this is pretty much just for gaming, you know, but it'll apply to other things. But like if you're the best at one thing, people who have the drive to learn, they will come to you to learn, and you could charge them for that shit to learn from you.
No, see, I think that would be great, but that's essentially being super motivated. Yeah, that's
Just
literally.
motivation, the skill of or the
that-
drive to motivate me.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be the best at something though, because there are certain physical limitations. Like, for example, you could want to be the best like TFT player of all time, yeah, and you could like do all the research and whatnot and be proper focused. But there could just be someone that is fundamentally better than you at, like, regardless of how many hours you put into it.
Right.
Their sheer talent will mean that they're better than you at it. Like, you could say, I tomorrow could be like, I we're going to put all my dedication into being the best golfer ever. But if my hand-eye coordination, it gets beaten by another guy by sheer talent, I could put 10,000 hours into golfing, he could put 2,000 and be way better than me. Like, so just sheer motivation alone isn't necessary. I mean, don't get me wrong, you'd get very far compared to most.
Oh, yeah.
But it wouldn't make you the best at anything. Whereas I could just be like, I want to be the best TFT player ever. And that's my skill. I've done that.
I think for me, it's more just having the drive to actually do that stuff and to just have to be able to become good, like not to just be average at whatever it is that I want to do. I want to be able to have that motivation to say, no, I don't want to just play this like everybody else does. I want to be held to a higher level. So like for like a ranking system, like in TFT, we'll say again, or in Pokemon, to be able to have that drive to learn enough to get me to, like, we'll say challenger in TFT or master ball rank in like competitive Pokemon. Obviously I don't have to be the best. There are hundreds of challengers, and there's like, I think, what is it, like 100 some odd master ball ranked players in the world, I think, when you get to master ball rank in Pokemon competitive. But there are like hundreds of challengers all throughout the world in different regions for challenger. I don't have to be number one. I just want to say I'm one of the best.
Would you not be worried that you'd become an arsehole though? Because people
I would
that
like
are
to say
that,
my personality would stop
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
but if you don't know.
bad.
Yeah, you don't know how you're going to respond to this. You don't know if all of a sudden, because you're super motivated constantly, all the time, that you're just going to ignore the social elements of it, and all of a sudden your family are going to get neglected, and you know you're not going to speak to your friends as much, and blah blah blah. Like,
I don't have family.
you know what I mean? Like,
they neglect me anyway.
yeah,
Like,
all of a sudden you're gonna, you know, do anything you can to be the best. So you know, like, are you not worried that part of it will happen if you're super motivated? That your fundamental core as a person is gonna, because you know, your part of your personality is your work ethic.
not really.
So
I think it's more like
if you just,
I want the ability to become good at what I want to be good at. To just be held like when people will say, when you think of Wolfie VGC, if you know him, first thing for people when they think of Wolfie VGC is, that was a Pokemon World Champion. He's really good at Pokemon. Doesn't mean he's got to be the best.
why don't you just make your skill that you're very good at, at the one thing? Why don't you just make that your skill? Like, why would you want to have the skill be that you can become that, or that you have the motivation to do that? Why don't you just be that?
Because
Like, why would you want it that way around?
Interests change. Like, who knows? Maybe a year from now, I won't even want to play TFT anymore. So why would I want to be the best at that? I want to be able to have the motivation to go pursue what I am interested in.
Because then if he got given this pill, then he wastes it on like, oh, I'm sick of chess, for example. But then he gets 2 years later gets bored of chess, and then what? He's got a wasted class skill.
Yeah.
But like,
But that would also mean you'll never retire, because you're always gonna be super motivated at something. So
eventually,
when you
wear and tear of the body will retire you.
No, but that's the point. Your mind, you've just taken a pill to constantly be motivated. You're going to ignore the fact that your body's deteriorating, and at 60 years old, you're going to be like, I need to be the best fucking crossword puzzler in the world. Because that's your new passion.
Give me all the books, I'm going to set a world record.
No, but seriously, like, if
yeah,
you
it
take
could
that
happen.
pill,
Yeah.
if you take that pill, you're going to get to an age and be like, you're not going to retire because your head's going to be in overdrive. You know what I mean? So that's a dangerous pill to take, in my opinion. I'd rather just be really good at one thing. Doesn't matter if I get bored of it. Just make a living out of it for a bit. You know what I mean?
Nah, I think I would still take that pill because, like, I feel like doing that.
60-year-old Hugh's gonna hate you for it.
Oh, probably. But I mean, hell, I'm not even gonna live to 60, so I'm not too worried about it. Like.
No, because your next motivation is going to be, at one point, is to live as long as possible. So all of a sudden you'll be only drinking
give me
green
all
tea.
Of these, like, fucking green teas,
yeah,
pure
yoga and
breast,
meditation
like...
for 18 hours a day. Just, I need to be in the zone, man. I need to be in the zone.
Make my body immortal.
Oh.
I'm gonna start doing like Orochimaru-esque experiments. Like
He's got so many like different anti-aging creams and moisturizers.
Yeah.
So
he's there. Just
I think it would just be like
drinking the blood of a newborn. Like, this will be good. Okay.
Oh yes, become the real Ghost King. Good one.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's more like what I meant was just having a skill to.
The Matrix does not tell you what you mean. All right, it doesn't.
Admittedly, I've never watched The Matrix.
It's like the genies. You know when like you hear the jokes that are like the genie.
Paw.
Yeah, exactly. And they give you the wrong one.
It's the monkey's paw. Yeah. I know that, but I've never watched Matrix. I think it's more just like being able to, like, when I want to push myself to do something. Like when I feel like if I feel like I need. Somebody's racing down my street. Okay. Like if I feel like I need to be good at something, I can give myself that motivation to be good at something, or like to pursue a want that I have.
Interesting.
Like I don't want a need to do it. It's just like to be able to give myself that drive to pursue something that I want is something that I would take.
But you're not slightly worried that you get that wish and you'd feel exactly the same, because there is inside of you a personal drive to do something. Like if you want to get to be better at TFT, you are going to do the thing. Like, are you basically saying that you want it as a switch on and switch off thing,
switch on
or
and off thing,
yeah, because at that point, like, I hate to break it to you, it might just be a case where, as I said, nothing changes. Because if you really want to switch on and do something right now in your life, you'll switch on and do something. But the point is that you don't want to live your life constantly switched on, because actually it's not a very fulfilling and happy life to live.
I think that's what people like.
Boom, life lesson.
People, boom. I think that's like another thing that drives people though, is like people, like, in order to like move on with the day, they have to have something that they want to do, you know, like to have a reason to get out of bed, you know. Like that's something that drives people.
Has anyone here watched a Disney movie, Soul?
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Not yet.
There is a beautiful metaphor at one point in it. Yeah, there's like people that so there's this like world where, like, there's this dimension where people that have lost their soul go, and they're like but it's a metaphor for soul searching. And there's two types of people that are in there. There's one that are living like the soul ending, like soul boring jobs, you know, like they show at that point like someone on stocks that hates it, or sales that hates it. And there's another type of person, and they are someone that have an extreme passion for it, for something, and the whole time they're just searching for that, searching for happiness by reaching pinnacle of that, and they're never going to reach it. Maybe they've reached the Nirvana at one point of that, like let's say piano. They've reached the point where they're the best at piano they can possibly be, and now but they're trying to like constantly find another thing. It's always got to be one more.
To be the best at.
Yeah, and they've actually lost their soul because that's all that consumes them constantly. So you're not worried that you're going to be like that? Out of interest.
Look how smug he is as well. Like, look how smug he is as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really.
No, but that is a banger film though. Sister.
We need to
Yeah,
watch
no,
it.
I gotta watch it. Yeah. I don't really know because, like, for me, I've never really had that one thing that I want to do in life. I've never found it yet. So that's another thing that I would like. I would like to be able to find that one thing I want to do, but it hasn't happened yet. Like,
Again,
there are
what if
plenty of
you-
things that I would like to do, but I could live without doing them.
Again, what if you ate that pill and nothing changed because apparently living life is what you had a passion for doing, just taking it one day at a time.
I'm not passionate about living life right now, buddy.
I mean, that's what you think right now, but you know the
At
big
the
picture.
moment, anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, because that was also the moral at the end of the story. Spoilers.
Oh, you dickhead! We haven't watched it yet.
It's just live life. What a Disney film's going to take you to live life, innit?
That,
know what I
that-
mean?
that is literally all.
Yeah,
all
that's
Disney.
most Disney films. It's going to be, live life, be happy.
Right.
And on that note, we'll end it there since it's a good note. Instead of
Yeah.
skills and stuff, little life lesson from Spuddy.
Yeah.
Thanks
That's
to
a minute.
Soul. So we will see you all next week. Thank you very much for watching. And yeah, see you next time, chat. Goodbye now.
Stay safe.
Peace.
Stay safe, guys.
Alright.